Hi there. Welcome to my studio. I thought I would take just a few minutes today to talk to you all about how to pack supplies to travel to France to paint this summer with me. Now, some of you already live on the continent in Europe, and that's great for you, but most everyone will be coming from this other side of the pond. So it can be a little intimidating, especially the first time that you're packing to travel. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and just show you some things rather than just send you a letter with a list of things, which I will do as well. So let's just run through things first of all. Colors. I'm going to run through the basic palette that I recommend having, and you know, if you've got favorite colors, bring them along, have a good time. But basically, I carry everything in a little pouch or of some sort, you know, and let's run through them. We need at least your primary colors. We need a blue, a red, a yellow, and also then I add phthalo green or viridian green and white. If you have small tubes of all those except white, that's cool. Then just have a big tube of white because we use a lot more white paint than anything else, of course. So regarding that, now most everyone will be working in oils, as I do. I think, Anthony, are you using acrylics? That's fine. But regarding oils, you can use alkyd if you like. They dry a little faster. Or you can just use a regular oil paint. This is another alkyd. You can use, here's a regular tube of ultramarine blue. And I use a lot of the Lucas paints. They're German and they're not alkyd, but they have some beeswax in them, and that helps them dry up faster. So depending how thick, of course, your paint is, they dry in a few days or so, at least get firm to the touch. The color palette. So we need an alizarin crimson, for sure. That's the red you really, really need. If you want another red, add red cadmium red light or something similar to that. That gives you a warm and a cool red. We need something like an ultramarine blue. If you want another blue, you could add cerulean or something on the green side of blue like that. Yellows, we need a cadmium yellow light for sure or something like that. And then also lemon yellow, which would be a cooler yellow would be nice. Cadmium lemon or some sort of other lemon that you have is fine. I use titanium white. You could get a fast drying white also. I know Gamlin makes it and other people make a fast drying white. And you mixing that with all your other colors, even if they're not fast drying or alkyd, will help them dry a little faster, because that brings us to the problem of, you know, having to transport wet paintings, especially if we have to get on an airplane. Regarding being on the airplane with your colors, I keep all my colors in a bag like this, and I pack this in my suitcase that I check. I don't go through the TSA with my paints. It's possible, but I just avoid the situation. Inside here, I will put a sheet that I print off the internet that is a manufacturer's safety data sheet. And I'll send you a link for that too, that you can print it out and just fold it up and put it in here. And I highlight the part that says nothing flammable in these paints. We don't call them paints, we call them artist colors. And then, you know, that word paint sort of scares the TSA. So if you, it just says colors and you're all set. And I would even write it on the outside that's worn off of here. But it's here it said, you know, artist colors, oil colors, and then you're safe with that. Of course, if you have acrylics, you even probably have less problem, but I would still put something in there so that you don't have a problem. That sort of covers the color situation. Let's move on to what you're going to use to apply color. I use hog bristle brushes. They're nice and firm, and you can apply the paint nicely with them. Sable brushes are great if you want to work out, you know, fan out your brush strokes or something like that. I would use an assortment of sizes. These are filberts. You see they're shaped sort of curved at the top. Also, I would suggest you have some brights or flats, which are square at the top, of various sizes from 2 through size 8, you know, 3 or 4 of each. Nice thing is if I have a lot of them, then I don't have to keep cleaning brushes all the time. I have one for my cools, one for warm colors, and I can just, you know, dry them and keep going and have a handful of brushes in my hand all the time. That's my choice. Brushes. Also, besides brushes, please bring a little set of palette knives. You have to make sure that these go in your suitcase. Don't try to carry them with you, or you know, you're going to have a hard time. They're going to confiscate them and who knows what. I had a friend several years ago who traveled with me, and she had one little palette knife she forgot about. It was in the bottom of her pack, And of course it came up and, you know, they detained her for a while. You know, artists were a dangerous crowd to travel with. That's a big joke. Anyway, you need some little ones because a lot of you will be working on a small format, as I will be on this trip. And some bigger ones are nice for mixing paint. Mixing paint, drawing paint out of your palette with a knife really keeps your puddles of color clean. So, but we're going to paint with these also. We'll have some painting exercises with palette knives. If you've never done it, it's going to be a great experience and it's really going to help you make stronger paintings. The last thing we need for creating strokes of any sort are some pencils. And I just have a little plastic box here that you want to have a couple pencils of any sort, any kind of drawing pencil or charcoal, but also please bring a black felt tip pen and sort of a chunky one, not a little Sharpie or something like that. Bring something chunky because we're going to be doing some sketches and we'll get into that, but using a pen really to define lights and darks, and for that we just need a tiny little sketchbook. Okay, itty-bitty sketchbook that we'll make very, very small sketches on before as preliminaries for what we do this week when we're together. Now, let's see, that painting surfaces next. For you who are already in Europe, if you want to bring bigger sizes, bigger formats, that's up to you as long as you have a way to transport them. When I travel, I do little pochade, little sketches, and nothing bigger. This is 8" by 10" one, and back here there's a 6 by 8, which is sort of a classic pochade traveling size that artists have done for, you know, over 100 years. You can buy them inexpensively mounted. They could either be boards that you cut and you could gesso them. You can buy, you know, little canvas covered panels at the art shops. I make my own. I use gator board, which is very, very lightweight, and a good quality glue, and I put linen on it, and then I'll do big sheets and then cut them down. This is a 16 by 20 that I can cut down into 4 8 by 10s. They don't weigh anything. So for me that's cool, but it's strictly not necessary. Someday I'll do a little video about how to make these. So you're going to need panels, and you need at least 2 for every day that we paint together in La Charité. We'll do a morning session and an afternoon session, and this is about learning to make oil sketches to capture the light. It's not about making finished paintings per se. You can always finish them up when you get home, and that's what I do. So that gets us through that. Then we get to the subject of some sort of easel or pochade system. If you have an easel that you use and you're comfortable with, that's really important. For me, I spend every year thinking of a lighter system that I can create, and I've kind of got it down to some that are pretty simple. This one right here next to me is a tripod for a camera that goes down to 18 inches, 19 inches, something like that. I've made this little box that folds shut, and I use it. I can keep my paints in here. It's a mixing surface, and then it closes up at the end of the day, and the paint is good. You know, I just have to wipe it down, but I can keep my paint there and it works great. And then this is just a little armature that I've made that I sort of copied the idea off somebody on the internet, and I've been looking for his website to tell you all, and when I find it I'll give him credit, and if you want to buy them you can buy them. But it's great because this whole system collapses down and fits really, really nicely into a backpack. Now we have one other option. I'll show you one more thing that I made. This is kind of fun. It's new, and it's for one of the students. She's going to be a sit and paint, and this is a wine box. And I've had it for a while, and I've finally got this worked out. I've put these nice friction hinges on it. I created a little palette for it. Inside there's room for pens, pencils, brushes, as well as paints. And this will hold, you can paint either 6 by 8 or an 8 by 10 here. If you take this little thing out, we can put 6 by 8s, either landscape or portrait size, turn them any direction. And then, I mean, the little paintings, you can actually carry one wet painting in here. So this is going to be kind of fun for Margie this year. Voila. And this will fit in a nice little bag too, and a little collapsible stool, a 3-legged stool, and it's going to be a really cool little set. I can't wait. It's going to be kind of fun. So we can talk more if you have more questions about some sort of easel system. You know, I have like a half-box French easel is great. The only problem with it is it's kind of heavy. I've traveled to Europe with them before, and it's nice if you want to do big paintings, and that's great. But otherwise, it's nice to have something that collapses even smaller and a little more lightweight. So check the art supply stores if you don't already have something, and it's cool. But you know, and that's that story. Now we have to be able to travel with wet paintings, and you can do it with. I can show you how to do it with a plastic bag and cork from wine bottles. You know, that's we save our corks and we can separate things and wrap them in masking tape, and you're all set with that. But otherwise, there are boxes that you can use. You can purchase them if you have them. They get a little heavy. This is a wooden box by Gorilla that opens up, and I can fit, I think, 10 or 12 paintings in here back to back, so the wet surfaces face out. These come in different sizes. There are also cardboard versions of them made that you can pick up that are much more lightweight, or they're plastic, or you know, they hold maybe 6 or not as many as this, but those are cool too. Or this is another box, wet box that I built myself because I wanted something I could put that was more flexible. In this box I can fit 6 by 8s going this way too high, or I could fit 8 by 10s or 8 by 8s or 8 by 12s even in it. So it's kind of, you know, it's just my own little creation that locks up, and I can carry a lot of paintings in that little box that are still wet. So that gets us through those. Then the last things that you want to think about packing are just the incidental things. You need some kind of hat, something to protect yourself from the sun. A hat, an umbrella is optional. If you have umbrellas you want to use, that's great. I don't travel with one overseas just because it's one less thing. It's too heavy, and you know, if you can find a shady spot, that's cool. Otherwise, a hat, you know, pretty much you can work with that. You need an apron or whatever you use to protect yourself, and beyond that, you'll want to have some kind of sunscreen and maybe some insect repellent, and those are things that you can buy once you get there, along with paper towels. And other incidentals. There's an art shop 15 minutes away from La Charité in Nevers, which is a train station where you'll train in if you're taking the train. And oh, baby wipes, we get those at the Intermarché too. And that, I think, sort of wraps it up. I'm looking at my list here. The thing you can't travel with is turpentine, of course. And I don't even use it anymore. I have a way of painting without it, and I'll share it with you. But if you want turpentine, we can get that in France too. I'll have some of that ready for you if you want it. But I can clean brushes with just olive oil or cooking oil and soap or walnut oil, anything. And we never have, you know, I avoid turp as much as I can now. But you can get it once we're there. So if you have any more questions after you've heard this, and you look at your sheet when you get it, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm really excited about seeing you all in a month, and we're going to have a great time painting together in La Charité. See you then.